So in today's video, I'm answering two questions. The first is how many magazines I recommend that you have for your concealed carry pistol. And then secondly, 3 things that you can do to make sure that your pistol is running as reliable as possible. So let's get into it. How many magazines should you have for your concealed carry pistol? Well, I recommend having at least 5, and here's why. The first 2 magazines will be the ones you carry on you, one in the gun, and a spare magazine as well. Now there is an argument out there against this. The argument is if you look at the research conducted involving self-defense shootings, and then you ask the question, well, how many times did the self-defenders reload their pistol or conduct a mag change? And the answer is statistically insignificant. So in other words, reloading your pistol really never happens in these self-defense shooting situations involving private citizens. So my philosophy is a little different. I ask the question, well, what is a main cause for a pistol malfunction? And a magazine is a major cause. So for peace of mind, I'm going to carry the extra magazine. Not to mention if you live in a commie state like Washington, you're only allowed 10 rounds, so having an extra magazine is going to help in that regards as well. But whether you carry an extra mag or not, the important thing is having the gun with you. So the next 2 magazines are the ones that I use at the range. So these magazines will get used and knocked around, and that way the ones that I carry will be nice and pristine and less likely to fail. So these 2 magazines will go to the range with me. And then the 5th magazine, I like to have a 5th one just in case one of these others fail. You can put the 5th one in the rotation at any time and not have to worry about it. Now the next thing I want to talk about is 3 things that you can do for your pistol to make sure that it's in its top most pristine condition in case you ever were in the unfortunate chance that you needed to use it. So you want to make sure that it's at its peak, it's running at its most reliable. So let's go over a couple things here. Now the first thing I want to mention that you can do to make sure your gun is running reliably is to clean and inspect your magazines. When I think about a pistol malfunction, one of the first things that comes to mind is a magazine-induced malfunction. Now, I carry and in the gun have the magazines that I don't use, so I don't really have to worry too much about that, but I will clean the ones I take to the range. Maybe every 3rd time or so, depending on how many rounds fired. But periodically you'll want to take them apart and clean it. Now taking the magazine apart is really simple, and I'll show you how to do it here. Now to take the magazine apart is pretty simple. Most of them will have a hole in the bottom that you can use to punch, or something that's like a punch, and you'll push in the hole here, taking the pressure off of the magazine spring and allowing you to slide the base plate off. There may be other variations, like this one's on the side, but same principle. You use a flathead screwdriver, push that in there to take the pressure off the magazine spring. Of course you'll do it when it's unloaded, not when it's loaded, but let's go ahead and take this one off here. So relieve the pressure, push the plate. Make sure you hold on to the lock plate that's underneath, because the spring will come out here. So not many parts to it. You have the spring, the follower, the base plate, the housing, and this is a lock plate or floor plate, whatever you want to refer to that as. And most of the time the follower will get pretty dirty from shooting it at the range and it's exposed to the explosions of the ammunition. But I go ahead and just use a clean cloth or whatever you have to wipe all the components off, spring, even the inside of the housing here. Since you have it apart, you might as well just wipe everything and then put it back together in reverse order. The follower, spring and floor plate. And slide it right back on you. Listen for the snap. Okay. And the second thing I recommend is that you clean your concealed carry gun after every use. It needs to be lubricated and maintained to make sure that it has that utmost reliability. If for some reason you'd ever need it, you need it to work. So I always clean my concealed carry gun. It doesn't matter if I only put 2 magazines through it. I'm taking it home, field stripping it, wiping it off, and putting some lubrication on there just to make sure it's at peak reliability. So breaking these modern pistols down is pretty easy. Okay, so let's break this pistol down. Pretty simple. Pistol's clear. Now most of your modern day Palmer pistols are going to have some sort of a takedown lever or a pin right here. I'll slide it back. This one's kind of bizarre. You actually rotate it upwards. So you have to pull the trigger on this one. Yep. I mean, there's really nothing to the pistol, so it doesn't take any effort at all, really. Just take the pistol apart. Make sure you're lubing all the areas where metal is touching metal. Just a spring, barrel, slide, and the internal frame here. So make sure you clean all this, make sure it's lubricated at all times, and that it stays that way all the time. And the third and final piece of advice I can give to make sure that your pistol is running reliably is make sure that your feed ramp is clean and polished. And this is a very important component of the firearm, you know, when it comes to malfunctions. And this is especially important with your budget firearms, because a lot of times you'll have maybe some burrs from machining or from inexpensive, the more inexpensive parts that they use. So, you know, you want to make sure that the feed ramp is smooth and lubricated and easy for that round to slide from the magazine into the chamber. So take a look at that and make sure. I think Springfield does a good job. So one thing I like about their guns is when you get a pistol straight from the factory, they always have a nice, smooth, polished feeding ramp. So take a look at your feeding ramp. Make sure that sucker's nice and smooth and lubricated. Okay, well that's going to conclude my video. If you found anything helpful, please like and subscribe, and have a great day.